What are your concerns about there being a potential gun range slash shop in an area where there's a school and also um, uh, homes for people who of our older age or retired?
I think it's a matter of community planning. I think that the proposed location is built in a walkable community that's meant to provide services for all. There are many families that live there. There's high density housing, as you mentioned, senior housing. There's also the Toledo Public Library that's just across the street. There are parks nearby. And I think the neighborhood was designed to really be walkable so that people can walk from place to place. And the idea of guns being sold in a location where someone could walk 10 minutes and be at a high school, where we know that gun violence is really an issue, particularly in our schools today.
What would you say is the best possible place for there to be a gun store, if anywhere in the city?
I look at the existing location. I've looked a little bit at the current Midwest Shooting Center, and it's in a very rural area. It backs up to I-75. Literally, the back of the building is I-75. So I think that a location, there's just a better location than putting it literally with a fence separating it from a family's backyard. I think there's probably a lot of locations in the Sylvania area, in the township, where such a business could go. I'm not saying the business shouldn't come to Sylvania. I think there's clearly a need for it. Not a need, but I think there's a desire for it. And so I think the city and the township should really work with the business owners to find a better location.
What do you hope the main takeaway is from tonight's meeting? What do you want people to leave the meeting knowing about your views on this proposal?
I hope they just consider the planning and the zoning and the impact that it might have on families and the school district, the safety and reputation of the schools, the libraries, and the parks. And I just really hope that they work to bring the business to the area, but try to find a different location and not approve the zoning variance.
Is there anything else you would like to add or want to make known?
I think there's a lot of other factors as well. I think I'd like the environmental impact to be considered. I'd like to hear from the school district. I'd like to hear the school district speak out publicly and say whether or not they support this business moving to the location. And I also hope it's made clear that the facility is not just a shooting range. I think, I believe in their information packet, they said 40% of the retail space would go toward retail sales and only 30% would go to the shooting range. So my concern is that this is really focused on sales of guns and ammunition and not so much for the sport.